After watching a lot of podcasts and actually watching a couple of our podcasts, there is no proper way to start a podcast except, hi, Ted.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like even the heavyweights just sort of start right in without any kind of... there's no prelude to it. There's no major introduction.
A lot of them have themes. A lot of them have themes. They open, like the guys on Smartless, they will open up by kibitzing, and then the Smartless theme plays, and they say, welcome to Smartless.
Yeah. Well, Megan Kelly has a theme. I listen to her a lot.
Welcome to Standing By. That's what we call the podcast.
There you go. Well, we have our intro as well.
Yes.
That Phil Balabanos made for us.
That's true. We do have that.
When we first started out.
Yeah, that's right.
We were quite impressed and thrilled with that.
We sure were.
It's so professional.
Yeah. And he accomplished that in such a short period of time.
Yeah, Phil did that in 15 minutes or something? Well, he shot it and produced it.
Edited the whole thing. Yeah, it was great. Thank you, Phil.
Quick turnaround, as they call it.
It sure was. It's the episode for the 4th day of March.
5th day of March.
5th day of March. Yeah. I was just going to say, if I have that right. Look at that. It's right there in front of me. And
pay attention, would you?
Well, it's what my wife refers to as man eyes. I have man eyes.
You do?
Yeah. Can you get me the mustard in the pantry? There isn't any mustard in the pantry. Stop using your man eyes. And sure enough, there's mustard in the pantry. So,
I don't know what's going on with my eyes, and maybe it's a combination of my eyesight and my dyslexia, but I told you this earlier, I turned on the TV this morning. I turned on the CBC News channel, and it said CBC News with Heather Hiscox, and I saw CBC News with Jimi Hendrix.
Now there's a story.
Yeah. Forecast calling for purple rain.
We should start by thanking our title sponsor, the gang at UPS. Well, the gang. They're everywhere across the country, the UPS stores Canada.
They're quite a gang.
They're quite a gang. And last week I went to see Jason out in the Isle of Parrots, as you refer to it as. I had a particularly difficult package of things to ship, and they were going to England. So I didn't know how I was going to get this done. A couple of pieces were fragile and important that they didn't break. And I went there, and Jason said, don't worry about it. It's done. I got it. And then later on in the afternoon, he sent me pictures of everything beautifully packed, bubble wrapped, addressed properly. And believe it or not, the UPS store got that package across the pond and to my buddy's place, I think in 4 days.
They've already got it.
They've already got it.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that? That's the kind of problem solving that the good people at the UPS stores are famous for. You probably already know this if you run a small business. When I was there chatting with Jason that day, a gentleman came in to drop off packages that looked like it had come from a small business he was running. Plus, there were a lot of packages behind the counter that had arrived for people who send packages to the UPS store. They really do an amazing job, and there are over 400 locations across the country. And I often talk about the stores like Jason's on Ile Perrot, and the fact that there's one up in St. Sauveur, there's one on Sources Road, because, we're a Montreal-based, Montreal-focused podcast. But they're everywhere across the country. Over 400 locations, like we keep saying. Go to the upsstore.ca. No, go to, I always get this wrong.
Isn't it the upsstore.ca?
Let's find out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have a look?
Please do.
I'm quite sure it is.
Yeah. I want to get it right because it's the UPS stores Canada across the country, and their website is terrific. It's got a business blog. It'll find a store for you. It's a good website to go to.
It is the upsstore.ca.
There you go. Our thanks to David and all the operators of the UPS stores across the country. I wanted to start this week with talking about social media and the current climate. Now, you and I have pledged not to talk politics, and we're sticking to it, and I'm glad of it. But Jess and I are big, I'll just give an example. Jess and I are massive, massive Family Guy fans. Jess has been a big Family Guy fan for years. So we tape it every Sunday. And last night...
Is it still in production?
Still in production.
I didn't know that. It must be coming on to 25 years now.
Brand new episode on Sunday, and we were all excited, and we pushed play on the PVR last night, and the whole episode was political. It was all about the Supreme Court, and was all about, obviously, Seth MacFarlane's, political point of view.
Which is liberal.
Yeah. And I said to Jess, can we not even just have funny for a,
was it funny at least?
No, not a bit. Not a bit.
That's disappointing.
I mean, that's our take, that's our sense of humor, but we didn't find it funny at all. And I'm like everybody else. I like to go on social media and see what's going on, see if there's anything fun going on and funny. And there isn't. It could be just my feed, but my Facebook feed is filled with rage and anger. And I posted a picture, actually it was a video of me snowblowing snow behind my house. We make a little pathway to the firewood. And we've had so much snow up north that we have to keep that pathway clear if we want to build a fire.
Right.
And up north, you're allowed to build a fire. The local government doesn't come kicking your door down. And so she takes a video of me, trying to clear the pathway, and I post it, and the initial, 30 comments were all about the pussy snowblower I bought.
Because it's electric?
Because it's electric.
Yeah.
You bought the wrong snowblower.
Well, when I saw it, that was the first thing that came to my mind, but I thought, does an electric snowblower work as well?
No, it doesn't.
As a gas-powered
No, it
snowblower?
doesn't. But what you don't know...
But I didn't hold it against you.
No. What you don't know is we have a very, very big driveway. So we have to have a contractor, and we do. The guy comes with the giant tractor and snowblower.
Plows the driveway.
Yeah. And I'm not allowed to shovel. My doctor said, don't shovel. So what we bought is referred to as like an electric shovel. So it's just for the front stairs, the front of our house.
Yeah.
And the back pathway.
And it looked to me like it was doing the job.
Yeah, it does the job.
Except you didn't post the video that you sent me. Terry sent me a video where he starts to blow the snow and the thing gets bogged down and stops, and Terry goes, yeah, fucking...
You know what I did? I stepped on the cord.
Oh, is that what it was?
That's what makes an electric snowblower a giant pain in the ass, and it is. But my point is, I was posting the video to show
how much snow there is.
There's a lot of snow up north,
and here's me plowing.
And here's
something.
Here's something you've probably not seen before. Me doing something.
Yeah,
And when we posted it, and I said to Jess,
and people got mad.
Well, not mad, but everybody was like, "You're a pussy snowblower, and you got to buy this snowblower, not that snowblower." And there's like a
mean-spiritedness.
Well, yeah, there's an instantaneous, you idiot.
Yeah,
and without looking, just looking at the video and going, "Oh, I see," and either not commenting or. But I find now that maybe it's the winds of the politics of the day that makes everything so contentious.
Yeah.
It's everything from, you can post a simple picture. The only thing that doesn't sort of elicit that kind of response is pictures of pets or pictures of my wife.
Yeah.
I find it very tiresome.
Yeah, it is tiresome, and you've got to either develop a thick skin or not post.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't care.
No,
you can yell, and I don't cry when somebody says something nasty online.
No,
I don't give a shit.
From a humanity point of view, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with us?
And I find it tiresome because now it's kind of infected everything.
Yeah.
It infected Family Guy the other night.
It infects families.
That's the thing. And Jess and I have actually had discussions about, okay, we're having dinner with friends tonight. How do we navigate that? How do we We haven't seen these people in a while. How do we stay away from it? And it's not that we're afraid to express our opinions, but Jess said to me, just so tired of it. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of arguing about it. And I guess that's just the way it's going to be now for the foreseeable future, I suppose.
Yes, so, well, if this makes you feel any better, you posted on social media yesterday that we're back in the studio today. And the post you put on Twitter, or X as it's now known, got a response from Tariq Rahman. And Tariq said, "It's comforting to have you back in Montreal."
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
That's a lovely comment.
And
I appreciate
I
that.
thought that was a perfect description too, given the nature of your personality and the kind of radio program that you did in this city for the better part of 40 years. People always found you comforting. You were like the old pair of slippers.
That's very nice.
Yeah. So I thought I would
that.
bring that to your attention.
Thank you.
There is still kindness.
There is, and you can forget that in the firestorm that is the events of these days.
Yeah,
I think
there's still kindness, and there's still funny.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about it on last week's episode, or the week before, 100 years ago. We were saying there are acts of kindness when we were talking about the winter storm. My car failing and you getting stuck in the snow. We were saying there are nice people out there.
The guy at the candy store paying for my candy because I forgot my wallet.
The trucker pulling up behind me to stop traffic from running into me.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really nice.
I think in the real world, there's still a lot of kindness and goodwill. And it's on social media where you don't have to look someone in the eye.
Yeah.
Face to face.
Yeah.
That's where people are more inclined to shoot their mouths.
Well,
myself included.
Yeah.
I do it too.
Yeah,
but I would like to think that I would say the same thing that I say online to someone.
You would. I know you would.
Okay,
I know
good.
I know you.
I'm glad to hear that.
Absolutely.
That's not necessarily
you're
for
not,
me
you're
to
not
say.
a keyboard warrior. You're somebody who believes what you believe
Well,
and you'd stand for.
I'd like to think I have the courage of my convictions.
Thank you.
And my son Sam said to me one time, "Dad, the thing about you I respect the most is that you always say it how you feel.
Right.
You don't pussyfoot around. If you believe in something, you say so."
Right. On that note, I think that's one more thing. That's the other thing is some of the nature of some of the posts are fascinating that come from people in walks of life who post their theories about economics and, conspiracies and whatever. And they're just barking at the moon. They have no,
Yeah. Well, everybody's a foreign affairs expert.
Yeah. Well, I was telling you when I got in here, I saw a post with regards to the politics of the day that referenced we eat too much processed food. Just never heard an economist or politician say that.
No.
I've heard that before.
RFK Jr. He wants to.
Right.
Anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
No. And
mom, alert. Mom.
I was going to say, if you've not heard us say it before, political free zone on this Standing By
we like
podcast.
to consider ourselves a safe space of sorts.
And on that note, let's cover some of the mail, shall we?
Sure.
The address is
standingbythepodcast.com. Standingbythepodcast.com.
Hey, gents, longtime listener of the radio station back in the day. Love to listen to you guys just like old times. I look forward to listening to you both every week. And when I can't, I listen back to back until I'm caught up. Isn't that nice? It came from Patrick Renault. Really nice letter. Patrick lives in Bay Durfee and sent me a note about some of the politics that are going on in Bay Durfee. Patrick, thanks for listening. I got a note from David, I think it's Palua, who said, if your Aunt Effie if your aunt was called Effie by you all, it's possible she was Irish and her name was actually Aoife.
I saw that. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, thank you, David. We appreciate that. Sarah sent me a note saying, I'm just writing to request that the Prime Minister be a guest on the podcast once he's had time to catch his breath. I know your podcast is not political, but boy, there's so much going on. Thank you. Love your podcast always. Sarah, thank you very much. There are podcasts with me and the soon-to-be ex-Prime Minister on YouTube, if you want to find them. As we say, it's not a political podcast, so he will not be dropping by here. I want to say thank you to George Heim, who said he remembers listening to me on my very first day at Shome.
Wow. 1984?
Yeah, he woke up and listened. He was in Vanier College at the time, set my alarm for 6 a.m. every day. And I remember thinking on that first day, is this guy going to last? Your laughter was and still is the best, and it was very different from anything else on the radio. I didn't know if the rest of Montreal would love it as much as I did, but there you go. George lives in Toronto and listens to the podcast. He says it's a nice piece of Montreal every week.
George.
Thank you, George.
We hear that from former Montrealers a lot.
I sure do.
Did you see the note from Eric about French names?
I did.
Eric
I'm just
says,
looking at it.
Eric says his wife Cheryl, and he loved the podcast, and that they have a hobby collecting antiquated French names. If you're interested, and he provides
quite a list.
Yeah, a long list, and I don't even know which ones to pick out. There's Hyacinth,
yeah,
Marceline, Ozeline, Azeline, Hormida, Nazaire, Vitale, Zadie.
Yeah, you mentioned you thought that was
that's Yiddish for grandfather, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I had a waiter. I went to Ribbon Reef last Friday night to celebrate my friend David Garfinkel's birthday.
Yes.
Classic David Garfinkel. 9 of us go to Ribbon Reef for his birthday, and he pays.
Accept the check, yeah.
And I don't even want to try to imagine what the check must have been. Anyway, the waiter, I picked up from his accent that he was European. He said, yeah, I'm from France. And I said, what's your name? And he said, Thibault.
Ah.
But spelled Thibaugh.
Oh, okay.
Thibault.
Yeah.
Not Thibault, Beault, but Augh, which I thought was interesting.
One of the names on that list, or a couple of them that caught my eye, was Euclid. I've heard that before. And the other one was Scholastic.
Yeah.
Hi, school. How you doing? Boo. Can't translate. Thanks to Tom Shipman for alerting us to Sugar Sammy being on with Ian Hanuman Singh. And just before I move on, George Heim, the guy in Toronto who's listened to me on the very first day I worked on the radio in Montreal back in 1984, the nature of his note was, why haven't you had Peppermint Patty on? And we're working on it.
Right.
He said, don't do it on Zoom. Bring her in person.
Yeah.
And
that would be the only way to do it.
Yeah. And he pledged $25.
Oh, that's nice.
Towards a hotel. Anyway,
so we get 10 more, 100 more people.
That's what he said. And maybe 99 people will pledge. Anyway, George, thank you. We're working on it. Patty and I talk every couple of weeks.
Tom Shipman, I believe, lives in Vancouver. I worked with Tom at the old FM 96 in the mid-1980s, before you and I worked together.
No kidding.
Yeah, Tom was, I think he was a producer, as I recall, and then he got out of radio and he went out to Vancouver, and I think he's successful in the stock market or some such thing, or real estate or something.
I see from his phone number. He's in Vancouver. Yeah,
good guy.
Yeah. Thank you for all the notes. And as we say every week, Ted and I do read the emails. We really appreciate the input. We've had some really kind ones, a couple of critical ones, which are absolutely fine. We read them all, and eventually we get around to answering you.
Yeah, and we've taken the criticism to heart and made adjustments.
Yes, we have.
Some of the criticism is valid.
Very valid, and we appreciate the input. I wanted to mention a couple of things I saw in Point Claire this week.
I live there.
Hey?
I live there.
You do live there. That's right. I don't know if you noticed, but somebody told me, a couple of people told me, and I had some time to kill. They said, you have got to go to Cugini's. It's a pizza place on St. Charles Road. And I met Germano, who owns the place, and told me the story in the background. The pizza was absolutely delicious. And he's in a strip mall that you drive right by.
What's the cross street?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
But
north of the 40 or south?
North.
Okay.
Yeah, north of the 40. And great guy, really good product, lovely pizza shop that you can go in and buy by the slice.
What's the name of the joint again?
Cugini's.
Okay.
And I wanted to say
As
hi.
is that Italian for cousin?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. My Italian isn't that sophisticated.
Okay.
And the other thing I wanted to mention, if you've been into the village, as I often have, I was involved in a restaurant in Point Claire Village years ago. There's a beautiful historic windmill there in the village that has been broken for quite some time. And it's over 300 years old, this windmill. And I thought, I sure hope they get their act together. They started building the windmill in 1709 and got it finished in 1710. And remember, this is the days before power tools.
Right. This was the days before power.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Anyway, it's been Point Claire's civic symbol since I don't know when. And the governments have all got together with the church and figured it out, and it's going to be restored. They're going to open a museum. There's been private donors who've put together some funds, and they expect that the windmill will finally be repaired and restored within the next couple of years.
Wow. So it's actually going to work again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume they will have some kind of a ceremony to mark the...
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I
think it behooves them. We'll have to speak to Mayor Tim about that.
Yeah, that's right. Is he still the mayor?
Yep.
I'm not following civic politics.
Tim Thomas, yeah.
Yeah, we
Good
should.
guy. He had that antique, maybe still does. I don't know, the antique shop on Cartier.
Yeah, and maybe he had something to do with that.
Yeah, well, that
pushing
sounds
that
like
forward.
that sounds like something that Tim would spearhead or get behind, because he's kind of he's a Renaissance kind of guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, I thought that was some good local news. Oh, and the other thing, what's the name of the? This kind of surprised me when I was in the village the other day. The name of the ice cream shop?
Oh, zippity doo dah, zippity day,
corner of
ziggies, zip zag. What's it called? Yeah, I know which one. Why am I blanking on that?
Well, because
There's a Z in it for sure.
Same reason I am.
yeah.
Yeah.
We should know that.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed.
Yeah, you have to Google that. Point Claire ice cream.
Standing by.
How can we not know that?
I don't know.
What's the matter with us?
There's something wrong.
But you know what?
Wild Willies.
Wild Willies. Why
Thank
did I
you.
think there was a Z in it then?
Zild Zillies will be open. Didn't want to embarrass Ted. Zild Zillies. They're open. There was
They
a
are?
sign up the other day that said we'll be open as of February 28th.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
optimistic.
I wonder if the Queen out on the island of Parrots will take that as a cue. And I don't think so, though. I drove by there not too long ago,
Yeah.
and they were snowed under.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the picnic tables were all stacked up against the side of the building.
Yeah, I don't think they're quite ready.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Speaking of Sugar Sammy, we should mention Sugar Sammy. If you get a chance, just go to YouTube and type in Sugar Sammy, Ian Hanuman Singh. Ian Hanuman Singh is just a hell of a journalist and, by the way, a very, very nice man who lives out in BC, and Sammy's on the road. And they got him to sit down for about a 20-minute chat about Sammy and how he handles comedy and what he's seeing as he makes his way across the country. Really fascinating, terrific interview.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
And it was a nice insight into Sammy and how he will go there
Yes.
in his stand-up show with politics, but he's got a great gift for, the way I describe it, is he can be observational without being confrontational.
That's a great description, Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just got that gift where he doesn't alienate anyone in his audience.
Yeah.
Because he's just so good at walking the line and at being funny without offending one side or the other.
And he explains how he does it, or, what his approach is in this interview with Ian. And, he talks about how what the most important thing to him is that everybody feels lighter and happier after you leave a Sugar Sammy show. And I can tell you from experience, you do. The Sugar Sammy Canadian Tour 2025 is underway. And when I say Canadian Tour, I mean Canadian Tour. The shows that are coming up here in Montreal in the coming days, unfortunately, are sold out.
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Because I'm on the website right now, and shows for in Montreal, Friday, March 7th, Saturday the 8th.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
There are I don't know if those shows have been added, but there are tickets.
Yeah.
Friday, March 7th, 2 shows. Saturday, March 8th, 2 shows. There are tickets available.
Yes.
But go now to his website, sugarsammy.com, because then I think those shows are added, because if you go deeper into his schedule for March, the Montreal shows are all sold out.
On the website, it says new tickets.
There you go.
Friday at 9:30, single seats available only. So they must be recently added. That's what you should do. If you want to see Sugar Sammy, and you should, go to sugarsammy.com. And when you go on the website, there's a whole list of upcoming shows right across the country. Moncton, Gatineau, Quebec City, Dubai, if you want to go over there and see him. And then he is, he's just coming back from the United States. So it's literally, a part of it is a North American tour, but it's Sugar Sammy's Canadian Tour 2025. And it's going to be the last chance to see this tour.
And there are Montreal tickets available for April. If you can't make it this Friday or Saturday, you can go in April. But again, don't dilly-dally. Buy your tickets now.
And as we say all the time, as unique an experience as you're going to see. And I highly recommend, if you've got 20 minutes and you want to listen to something interesting, Ian Hanuman Singh and Sugar Sammy sitting down for a chat was terrific.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube.
Two smart and engaging guys.
They are very smart.
Yeah. Did I say smart?
Smart. Two very smart
You know
guys.
what? I was thinking, that's my maritime hard R.
Yes,
right?
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Park the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've never lost that. I've been away from the Maritimes for like 45 years, and I've never lost that. When I was watching the Oscars the other night, and what's the actor's name from Oppenheimer? Is it Cillian Murphy or Cillian Murphy? Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
He has hard R's.
Yes.
So that's where that's from. That's from my Irish roots of however many 100 years ago. I noticed that right away. I think, oh, thank God. the handsome Academy Award-winning actor also has hard R's. I'm in good company.
I find it endearing. I don't know if other people do or don't.
People still make fun of me for it,
but it's fun.
Yeah, they're poking gentle fun.
Yeah, I find it's endearing, and it's. I know it's not a Canadian thing, but it is very Canadian in terms of the Maritimes. Like the farther east you go, the harder that becomes, doesn't it?
The harder the R becomes?
The R becomes,
I guess, yeah.
eh?
It's just, it's a very maritime thing. I just know you can tell if I can tell because I know, right, if someone's from the Maritimes, because they have the hard R's. My friend Zach likes to make fun of me for what he calls old man bird moments. And I had one last night. I was driving home and I was talking to him on the phone, and I said, what's tomorrow, Wednesday? He said, no, old man bird, it's Tuesday. And he said, it's not just the not knowing what day it is. He said, it's the day I said it louder than it had to be said, or the way I said it louder than it had to be said. What's tomorrow, Wednesday?
I'm right here.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, can you explain your Facebook post, which made me laugh out loud, about trying to charm the girl behind the counter?
Oh my God!
Stepping into a rack of chocolate.
I went into I don't know if it's a Provisoire or a Bonnisoire or what it is. Anyway, the depanneur around the corner from my place on Saturday to buy a newspaper, and I was shovel timing. And if you don't know what shovel time is, you have to watch last week's episode. It just means you talk up a stranger, right? So I'm chatting up the girl at the counter, and I'm thinking to myself that I'm being quite charming, and I'm give her my money for my newspaper, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, she likes me. And I turn around and I walk right into a stand-up rack of chocolate bars.
And did it go?
No, I managed to catch myself. Like I hit it, but I didn't hit it hard enough to knock it over because I had managed to slow down my momentum. Yeah, there would have been Kit Kats and
I
Oreos
was gonna
all
say,
over the place.
I had that vision of you, bending over to get the Aero bars and the crunchy
right.
bars.
Yeah.
Sorry. Very sorry.
My back.
So it wasn't a complete disaster.
No, but it made me laugh at myself.
By the way, while we're talking about retail, could somebody tell me who organizes pharmacies? Have you ever been into a pharmacy to buy something?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Do you not find it difficult to find where things should be? Or is that just me?
Well, that's why they have the signs up in the aisles.
Yeah,
no?
but it doesn't always...
You find it's just too haphazard?
Yeah,
sort
like,
of,
why are...
no thought goes into it?
Why are the Band-Aids with the hemorrhoid cream? Like... like
Ever had hemorrhoids?
you're looking for antacid, and it's with the umbrellas. I always feel so dumb when I'm wandering around a pharmacy.
Well, when I go into a pharmacy, the first thing I do is if you can find someone besides the cashier, and good luck with that.
Yeah.
I just ask them where whatever it is I'm looking for
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, because there's a certain kind of soap that I like, but that soap isn't with the soaps; it's with the skincare products.
Yeah, you're right. It's very random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what the thinking behind it is, and that's just something that I thought I would get off my chest. To go back to the Oscars,
Yes.
what did you think?
I tuned in late. I tuned in about an hour and 15 minutes after it started, and I was pleasantly surprised with how apolitical it was.
Me too.
There was some politics, but not a lot.
No.
And I got the feeling that there must have been a memo.
Yeah. Well, you know what my guess is? I don't know so much if it was a memo, Ted. I think that Conan probably said, we're not going down that road.
Really?
That's my guess.
Is he largely apolitical?
That's my guess. He doesn't do a Tonight Show style talk show anymore. He's got his podcast, which is wildly successful. Conan Needs a Friend. And I can't recall him having any political guests on. And I think Conan is a student and loved and respected Johnny Carson. And Johnny Carson famously said in a very famous 60-minute interview, "It's not my place to tell Americans how to think."
Right.
And I wonder, I don't know, I'm guessing, I wonder if Conan said, there's got to be a way we can do this without setting it aflame with politics. And I think he pulled it off. I thought he did an amazing job.
So you think he set the tone?
Well, I think he probably did, because he wears it, right? Anything that happens on the night of the broadcast falls on the host's shoulders. Letterman famously thought he bombed. A lot of people didn't, but he didn't go over at the time, and there was a couple of broadcasts that were, if you get saddled with too much of that, I think you alienate half the audience. And I think Conan's been around long enough that he probably knew that. So that would be my guess, because Jess and I sat down to watch it and said, okay, here we go. Let's get ready. Because we've been having that conversation, as we said at the top of this podcast, about how politics infects everything these days. And we were pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Like you say, there was a couple of moments, but overall, I thought it was fun. It was fast-paced, and it ended before 11 o'clock. I couldn't believe it.
And there were a lot of movies that were nominated for Best Picture or won in other categories that not only did I not see them, I'd never heard of them until Oscar night, including Anora. I had no idea about that film.
Neither did we. And
it won Best Picture among five.
It was the big surprise
Academy
of the
Awards.
night. Yeah. And typically, that's when, Jess and I said as we turned the TV off, well, we're going to have to watch that. Let's see what all the fuss is about.
Yeah. And I forget her name, Mikey.
Yeah. Yeah, very young actress.
Yeah, she won Best
Redmond,
Actress.
I think.
Yeah, and people who know more about that world than me said it should have gone to Demi Moore.
Yeah,
for a movie called The Substance, or something like that. Yeah. And,
that's not a movie I could see.
I was glad Buddy didn't win, because that would have just opened up a whole can of worms.
I thought Kieran Culkin gave the best speech of the night. I don't know if you
I
saw
didn't
it.
see his speech
It
because
was just terrific.
That was early, and I'm glad he won. I watched that movie last week.
Oh, you did?
Loved it.
Good. I'm glad.
Loved it. But you know what? You know who I liked the most in that movie was a movie called A Real Pain.
Yes.
And Kieran Culkin won Best Supporting Actor for that movie. It's about two cousins who go to Poland to visit their grandmother's home and the concentration camp that she was in. She's passed away and left them money so that they can do that. And Jesse Eisenberg plays the other cousin. He wrote and directed that.
Yes. Yes.
And I thought he did a great job as an
Amazing
actor, too.
job. Yeah.
I find that every time I see him, he's kind of the same character.
Yeah.
I think he plays himself.
Pretty much.
I think when you see Jesse Eisenberg in a movie,
Yeah.
you're seeing not Jesse Eisenberg as somebody, you're seeing Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
And I thought the way he handled Kieran Culkin's character was so good because you could tell he was angry at him, and then he loved him, and then he was empathetic towards him, and then he was angry at him again.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a great movie.
I'm glad because didn't I tell you? I said you got to watch this movie.
That was part of my
last week?
homework.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was part of your homework.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really, really terrific film.
Yeah, strongly recommended. A Real Pain.
A Real Pain, it's called.
And the concentration camp you couldn't remember the name of was Majdanek.
Thank you.
Or Majdanek.
Yeah.
And that's on my bucket list.
To go there?
Not necessarily that one, but now that I've seen that movie and how well preserved that camp is, because I know in Auschwitz, the gas chambers are all, and I don't know if the Germans destroyed them before they left or if the Allies destroyed them when they got there, but the gas chambers are all in ruins. They're just a pile of bricks and rubble, so you can't really wrap your head around what it must have been like. But at Majdanek, gas chamber, and you see it in the movie. It's intact. You can go into that room. You can stand in that room. Yeah. And it was chilling to watch.
I was just going to use that word. Absolutely chilling. I'm not going to, I don't want to spoil anything, but the end was pretty surprising.
I'm trying to think what happened at the end. It was days ago after all that I watched it.
It's long ago now. Oh, well. Yeah. It's just got a very interesting ending. Highly recommend the movie.
I don't know if Jesse Eisenberg was nominated for Best Screenplay
or
Best Director. Good. I'm glad he got a nomination.
I think Screenplay he was. Yeah? I think he was nominated for that, yeah.
I really liked it. The other nine, I was going to say the other nine, but A Real Pain was not a Best Picture nominee.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. No.
Out of the 10 Best Picture nominees, I don't know if I saw any of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there are any that I would particularly...
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that I wouldn't want to see. I'm sure there are some I'd want to see, but there's nothing that I've got to see that.
Well, I think I'm going to, if I'd seen the trailer for Honora, I think I would have passed.
I've heard people say it's basically a porno film.
Oh, really? Oh, God.
Yeah. Okay. The story is about a sex worker, a prostitute who marries the son of a rich Russian oligarch. And that's the premise, but apparently a lot of it is just basically pornography.
Okay, well, so I might take a pass on that then.
Yeah. I don't know about The Brutalist. That's probably a good movie.
The Brutalist. Apparently you have to pack a lunch for that one.
Yeah.
But apparently it's
3 to 3.5 hours.
Something like that, yeah.
And I heard
it's almost as long as Adrian Brody's speech.
Yeah. Did you see my son Sam's
I did.
condensed version of Adrian Brody's speech?
Yeah.
And he had that recorded, produced, and on Instagram within an hour of the speech. And it's very funny. Sam also did, and this is me bigging up my son, but I'm going to do it. He also did a video of every Adrian Brody video on Instagram. And when I first watched it, I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
But I thought, I'll bet you that's funny. because Sam's funny, right? And then I went to Adrian Brody's Instagram account and watched a couple of his videos. Sam nails it. He absolutely nails it.
How do people follow him?
Sam Burduel, SAMBIRDUEL on Instagram.
Burduel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, he's very funny. Yeah, and the Adrian Brody, he absolutely nails it.
So,
hey friends, it's been a minute. Just want to say I love you all.
We both agree then, thumbs up for the broadcast. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I did. I really did. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was. I didn't feel compelled at any point to turn it off. I didn't say, "Oh, fuck off" out loud at any point in the movie. The only time that it got remotely political, and I had turned it on in the middle of this, was for the best documentary.
Yeah.
Which was, I think it was a joint Israeli-Palestinian production.
Yeah.
And like I say, I'd never heard of the movie before, and they were halfway through their acceptance speeches. Did you see the poor guy? I forget what the award was. It was like it was one of the technical awards, best film editing or whatever. And 3 guys won.
Yeah.
And 2 guys gave speeches, and the third guy stepped up to the microphone. And the band started to play. I felt so bad for him.
And they shut the mic off to make it even worse.
I felt so bad for him, but as he was walking off stage, you could see me. He was kind of shrugging, going, "Oh, well.
What are you going to do?"
I got my Oscar. I'm good.
You know who was lucky that night, too, was the director of, is it Anora? Have I got that right?
Yeah, Anora.
Because he got to go up a bunch of times. And, often when you go up the first time, you forget to include some people. But
right.
He got to go up a bunch of times. Overall, like I said, I thought it was light and it was fun. And I'm not the biggest Conan fan in the world, but I thought he did an amazing job.
He's a pro.
Yeah, he's not
pro.
his first rodeo for sure.
No. What did you think of Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah and their tribute to Quincy Jones?
Not much,
yeah.
To be honest. I mean, they're both very big stars. They were both very close to Quincy Jones. I didn't understand any of that. I tweeted this out after the so-called tribute was done. I thought, oh, good, a tribute to Quincy Jones. And it was a number of The Wiz. The Wiz was something from, I think, the late 1970s. It was a musical version of The Wizard of Oz that bombed horribly at the box office and didn't do well commercially. I don't think a lot of people talk about The Wiz all these years later. And out of all the things Quincy Jones has done, Michael Jackson, Frank Sinatra, Nelson Riddle, the list, We Are the World, the list goes on and on and on. He was such a giant figure in music. And The Wiz is what you choose? Like I asked on Twitter, who's at that meeting?
Yeah.
Who says, "Hey, let's honor Quincy and we'll do a number from The Wiz." And I can't believe somebody didn't go, "The Wiz." You could have done a montage that could still be going on. He was such a giant in the music and movie business. He really had his fingers in so many things.
Did you sense any tension between Oprah and Whoopi? Because I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and someone who's obviously not an Oprah fan was talking about how she kind of made it about her. And I don't know if she was talking about Quincy Jones. He discovered me and put me in Color Purple and gave me the role. And the guy said that, and I'd have to watch it back again. The guy said that Whoopi kind of gave her a look like, and I think Whoopi even went, "Yeah, me too."
She did.
She did. And Whoopi was the bigger star in that movie.
Yeah.
But the guy said, and I'm not the world's biggest Oprah fan. I've always thought she was, I've always just got an insincere vibe from her. And I thought
it's funny. I never did. I'm a massive fan.
Yeah. No, there's something about her that I just don't think she's that sincere. And the guy, obviously the guy who I heard in the pod, it was on Megyn Kelly's podcast. He said that he got the feeling from Whoopi that it was like, yeah, okay, Oprah.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, Oprah is, it's inarguable. She's one of the biggest stars in the world.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And she's had a huge impact on the industry.
Massive impact. And I watched a thing online a couple of days ago that was posted by the person that was a beneficiary of her help. Was a teacher who got an award on the Oprah show, and Oprah gave some money to start a school, and it's a story somewhere down in the United States, and now the school is thriving and has over 200 students, And I thought to myself, she put a lot of good in the world over the years. And I always thought that one of the reasons she was so successful was that she spoke from the heart. And I don't know, maybe that changed in the years when she, became a multi-billionaire. But I've always been a fan. I'm surprised that you don't think she's sincere.
Yeah, it's just it's my gut reaction to her.
Well, I'm out of here.
Okay. The other element of my homework that I failed at was the Geddy Lee book, My Effin' Life. I'm only about 75 or 80 pages
you started
in.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
Well,
I read in bed.
Yes.
And it's a hardcover book, so it's hard to read a hardcover book when you're lying down. But I'm 75 to 80 pages in.
Hard to hold it up.
Yeah. And the cat was looking at the book like, the hell is that thing? Which goes to show you how long it's been since I've read a book. And anyway, I've been watching it got me watching some Rush videos and looking at some Geddy Lee interviews on the internet. So now my algorithm is all Rush all the time. And one of the things that popped up on my Facebook feed this week was a bluegrass band from Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean.
Yes, you sent me this.
Called the Blueberry Grass Band.
I wondered how you found this.
And they did a cover of Tom Sawyer.
Yes.
A bluegrass cover of Tom Sawyer, like full-on Quebecois, banjo, fiddle, like the whole 9 yards. And even the lyrics, the singing, the guy who sings the opening verse, he goes, a modern-day warrior, mean stride. Today, Tom Sawyer, mean pride. It's so Quebecois and so good, and they nail it. I mean, it's a bluegrass version, but they really nail it.
I watched it after you sent it to me, and I thought, how the hell did you find that?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess this happens to everybody because even when I was reading on the beach, what is it about the beach, by the way, that makes me read so fast? There's something about I just love reading on the beach. Anyway, I found myself often putting the book down and picking up my phone to Google something.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been doing with this book.
Yeah.
And I also watched the original video of the recording of Tom Sawyer, which was up north.
Up in Warren Heights,
Yeah, Le Studio.
Yeah.
And it was the technology is very early 1980s, but in a way that almost makes it better because it's just the three of them playing.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing fancy about it. It's just you get to watch the three of them record that song, which arguably, you could Rush fans might disagree, but I think that and Working Man are Rush's. They're my two favorite Rush songs.
When you read that book, you'll see many references to Le Studio. They loved Le Studio, and they loved Warren Heights. And so much so that's why Neil ended up buying a house in Laurentians.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he lived on a lake in the Laurentians for a good chunk of his life. I'm glad you started it because I thought...
Yeah, and I'll finish it. Yeah.
I thought maybe it was one of those things where you thought, I'll get to that next week.
No.
Good for you.
I'm reading it.
The book is called My Effin' Life, by the way.
Co-authored by Daniel Richler.
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And it's a good read, isn't it?
It is a good read.
Yeah.
His childhood is very interesting, and then he got through, and he right away he goes to his parents' Holocaust experience.
Yeah.
So I just finished that, and now I'm getting into the part where he's starting with his music career.
Really interesting in that book where I don't remember the chapter's sequences, but at the end of one chapter, he says, take a breath because we're going to, in chapter 4, talk about my parents' history. And if it's too much for you, I'll see you in chapter 5.
Well, that must be early on in the book because I've read about his parents' experiences, and I'm only on page, like I say, 75 or 80. But a great book.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's such a fascinating guy.
He is.
And seems like such a nice guy,
He's such a nice man. I've been lucky enough to meet him a couple of times.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I've met him a couple of times. And
Geddy Lee we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about Geddy Lee.
Singer for Rush.
And really lucky to have had the opportunity to chat for an interview on the radio with him and Alex. And they were touring an album that was shortly after Neil had lost his wife after having lost his daughter in a car accident, which is, by the way, it's also all covered in the book. But he just couldn't be a nicer man. If you ever have an opportunity to wave at him or say hello to him, not when he's eating dinner or not when he's with his family, but if you ever have a chance to approach him, Don't be afraid, because he's a lovely, lovely man.
Let's do the tweet sheet rather than at the very end go,
Okay.
oh, we forgot the tweet sheet.
Yes.
You want to do that now?
Yes,
do
I
do you want to talk about one of our sponsors first or
I would
after?
like to. I was in there. I went to see the Riche's.
Yes, Robert Riche Jewelers.
Yes,
in
I went.
Dorval.
I finally brought my watches in, and they're ready for the pickup. You get an email when the job is done. And I think I told you, I texted you, and I was standing in the shop talking to Linda, and a guy walked in and said, "Hey, I'm here because I heard you on the podcast." And I had to say to him, honestly, I'm not setting
He
these
did it
things
for
up.
$50 too, so it wasn't that expensive.
Robert Riche Jewelers will do things like that for you. They polished our wedding bands. They've put batteries in a couple of watches that I've been meaning to put, back in operation. And it's hard to find somebody who will do that for you. They will do that for you. And if you're shopping for a gift, for an anniversary, or, you're going to ask somebody to marry you, or, you just want to mark a graduation or anything like that, they have so many beautiful things in that store. That's been there for a very long time. Another family-run business that's been there for a very long time.
And if you've got a big event coming up and you're ready and willing to spend some big money on a big old rock, Pierre's off to Antwerp, Belgium in April. He goes twice a year. He has special access to the diamond factories.
Because he's invited.
In Antwerp, because he's invited, because he's Pierre. And so go see him before he goes to Antwerp in April.
Yes.
And I hope he brings us back some of those chocolates. Those were good.
Yeah, I got the liquor ones. You got the non-liquor
that's right.
ones.
Yeah. You don't know me. Get a fucking chocolate.
28 years now?
28 years as of last Saturday, March 1st.
Saw your chip online. Very nice.
Robert Riche Jewelers, 309 Dorval Avenue in Dorval, right across from the Dorval Mall. Let's do the tweet sheet, shall we?
Oh, very good.
I mined Twitter. We were talking about social media earlier. Yes, it can be a cesspool of hatred and vitriol, but there's still some funny. And I find some of it on Twitter every week to share with Terry and you, including this one from @RodLacroix. I love how casino commercials show people in suits and cocktail dresses, but when you go to the one, it's like free beef jerky day at a Walmart. I live near a Walmart. Is there free beef jerky day?
I don't, not that I'm aware of.
I'd like to find out. From @Bob Janky, cartoons make it look like getting stabbed in the butt with a pitchfork would be no big deal, but I beg to differ. He's really funny, Bob Janky.
Yeah, he's great.
He's one of my Twitter heroes, and I actually have engaged with him personally on DM, and he's a very nice guy. He lives in Chicago. He's really funny. And from @Fred Delicious, once every few weeks, someone will come forward like, one of my children has been fathered by Elon Musk, but I won't reveal which one. And they're called Tyler, Olivia, and Windows XP.
I remember when Gwyneth Paltrow announced that they had named their kid Apple.
I remember that,
we
too.
thought it was so ridiculous, and and now it doesn't seem like that big a deal.
Well, when you're naming your kid X,
Yes.
which Elon Musk has done with one of his.
Yeah, and I forget who is one of the celebrities. Forget who I shouldn't tell the story without remembering who. Somebody will yell at
I might remember.
Silver, bronze, and gold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone named the 3 kids Silver, Bronze, and Gold. Was it like a former Olympic athlete?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, it's an odd thing coming.
Yeah.
We were talking about old names last week.
Yeah.
And you were talking about, Charlie. I mean, do you have like arguments, and how do you finally settle when you have a child?
I guess if you're Elon, you get to make the call because you've got the $200 billion.
Right. Right.
But, I don't know what, when that kid is
man in the world, I win.
Yeah, when that kid is 30 years old,
Yeah.
are his friends and family going to be calling him X?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It seems kind of cruel, does it not?
A little bit, yeah. Gwyneth Paltrow, but that wasn't the only crazy thing she did,
Yeah.
because she also, when she got divorced from Chris Martin from Coldplay.
Yeah, and they're still good friends, by the way.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, they described it as a conscious uncoupling.
Coupling. Yeah, that's right.
And then she went off to make candles that smell like her vagina.
and has become a multimillionaire doing that.
Really?
One of the most successful companies in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah. The Goop website and
Goop
website and the Goop products, all kinds of mystical, magical, crazy things for I can't even, just one day for fun when you're falling down rabbit holes online, go to the Goop website and look at some of the stuff you can buy.
Are there other vaginal scents besides Gwyneth available?
I don't know anything about it. I don't know if they're named after people. And it's time to stop talking about that. I'm getting wildly uncomfortable.
Somebody making fish? No, that's Gwyneth's candle.
Let's quickly mention, we don't have to quickly mention, we should talk about our good friends at Accutech, who are a sponsor of the podcast. Accutech is an electric company. It's a family business. It's been around since 1995. Tom's dad started it, and when I say family business, I mean family business. Tom's in charge. Trish is holding court at the office, making sure everything runs and is, organized. And Tom and his guys are out and about doing everything from electrical work in a house to electrical work in a strip mall. They can do it all. And we've talked about this a lot this winter. They are now generator specialists.
Generac affiliated.
Yes.
So if you are thinking about putting a generator in your home or in your cottage, call Accutech Electric and they will guide you through the process of getting and installing a Generac generator. And better to have someone who knows what they're doing and what they're talking about, because I wouldn't know where to start with generators.
And remember the name. It's an easy name to remember, I think, Accutech, because electricians and electric work is not something that you need on a regular basis, but when you need it, you usually need it in a hurry, and you need it done properly by people
Expertly.
who know what they're doing. So when you're thinking of electrical needs, whether it's at your house or a new project that you're building, think of the folks at Accutech, ACUTECH.ca. You going to get your snow tires off soon?
No.
We were having this conversation.
No, not
my
until
wife
April.
and I.
April at the earliest.
That's what we said. Yeah, because you said last week, Matthew, March 16th, I think. March 16th?
That's when you can, by law, put your summer tires
but
back
you
on. I don't know why you would, though.
No, you shouldn't. We had that conversation about when do you take them off. And we live in you never know land.
Yeah.
Because I've seen snow and a lot of it in April.
Yeah, we could get clobbered.
Yeah.
In April.
Yeah, we've been clobbered enough, by the way.
Yeah.
The amount of snow that we have up north is it's great for the ski hills, but it's unhinged how much snow.
Well, it's old man winter making up for last year.
Yeah,
But I forgot about last year. All right. Well, here you go.
I like when it snows a lot because that's what winter's all about. And there's less barking at the moon about the end of the world when winter is winter. And the reason I bring it up is because Jess and I were talking about Merson the other day, and we had that discussion about, should we wait till the end of March or should we wait till the middle of April?
Middle of April.
Yeah,
I'm a middle of April guy.
Yeah, I think so.
But make your appointment now.
That's
if
what
you're
I was
getting
gonna
your
say.
tires done at Merson.
Yeah, it's a good time to call them and ask them what's available for the coming weeks. Because if you wait until the last minute to get your summer tires put on, you're going to be out of luck. And don't forget to ask them about storing your summer tires or your winter tires. They can do that for you. I used to really love taking advantage of that service. They take off the winter tires, put on the summers, and then you just drive away.
You don't have to worry about it
you
until
don't have to,
the fall.
Yeah, and they hang on to them for you. It's a great service they provide. And also mechanical services, everything that you need for your car, they can do.
Here are some apples of which to get a load.
Yes.
At Merson right now until the 14th of March, a free inspection with an oil change.
Wow. Okay.
And that includes battery, brakes, fluids, and wipers. So until March 14th, you need an oil change, take your car into Merson, and they'll take care of an inspection for you as well, and they're not going to charge you the labor that it would otherwise cost.
Another family-run business that's been in the business of looking after Montrealers for a long, long time.
3 generations.
Yeah.
Since 1970.
Just past the corner of St. Jacques and Cavendish. You can go online, but we suggest call them and have a chinwag with them. They'd love to hear from you. And if you're in the neighborhood, pop in and see them. There's always somebody behind the counter, and they're absolutely lovely to deal with.
Nice folks.
Yeah. I wanted to mention a couple of things on the television that we've been indulging in. We finished, and I can't recommend this enough. I know this sounds crazy, but Jess and I finished In the Shadows. It was 6 seasons.
That was the vampire one?
Yeah. Just absolutely unhinged and hilarious.
Some of our email
Yes.
has been from people thanking you for turning them on to
Is that
series.
right?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't.
Yeah, we got at least one note from someone who said, Terry, thank you for
letterboard
mentioning.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, a letterboard in.
That's good. No, I'm glad because we just finished it, and it became a routine. You know how you watch a series and it becomes a routine. Every night we would watch 1 or 2 episodes before we went to bed, and then it was over, and we were, sad that it was done. It's called In the Shadows, and it's out of the mind of Taiki Waititi there.
The guy who did
Jojo.
Yes.
Yes.
What a great movie. I got to
Jojo
watch
Rabbit.
that again.
Yeah.
What a great movie that
He's
was.
such a clever,
Yeah, he's from
wonderful-
New Zealand,
Yeah,
I think,
very,
right?
very funny
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And this thing is hilarious.
And a unique and twisted sense of humor as
Big
well.
time, yeah. Because I'm not a vampire guy.
No, me either.
I don't
Not
like
interested.
And you don't have to be. It's the premise is so ridiculous. It's a lot of fun to watch. Speaking of documentaries, because I always do, if you were a Tom Green fan, and I wasn't, Tom Green was a kid from Ottawa who hit the big time through cable television in Ottawa. And it's kind of a fascinating story. He was married to Drew
Barrymore?
Yes, he was married to...
Really? I didn't know that.
He was married to her for 22 minutes. And it's a fascinating documentary that him and his parents are involved with. He now lives just outside of Ottawa. He sold his home in Hollywood and bought a farm in Ontario.
Good for him.
Yep.
Good for him.
Yeah, just really, really, really interesting. It's Tom Green's documentary. It's available. And like I said, I wasn't a big fan, but I watched it, and it's a really interesting story. You'd like this, Ted, but I know you don't have Apple TV. There's a new documentary series on the Vietnam War.
Oh, yeah?
Which is really, really interesting and really powerful.
Well, I can always sign up for another.
Yeah.
That's what I did for SAS Rogue Heroes.
Yeah.
I resubscribed to Prime,
Yep.
and when I was done the series, I
canceled
canceled
it.
my subscription. And
There
there's
you
no
go.
penalty that I'm aware of.
Yep.
Or if there is, they haven't penalized me yet.
Okay, there you go. It's on Apple TV, and it's just called Vietnam, and it's really, really well done, extremely well done. They have footage from 1968, and they have guys in that footage that they went and found.
Like from the Tet Offensive?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the second episode. It was Tet.
Yeah. And if you're our age, that brings back childhood memories
Big time.
of watching
Yeah.
Walter Cronkite on the CBS Evening News, and
Yeah.
every night there would be the body count,
Yeah.
and it
Awful.
would be like Pentagon. It would be the Pentagon figures, and it would be 223 Viet Cong killed and 7 Americans.
Yeah.
The body count would always favor the Americans, but
Yeah.
in the end, 58,000 Americans died in the Vietnam War.
Yeah, and the history of how the veterans were treated when they got home is just an awful thing.
Disgraceful.
Awful thing.
The whole premise behind the war is highly debatable.
And we're watching White Lotus on HBO. And
Is that the one set in Sicily?
The second season was in Sicily.
Okay.
This is the new season. It's in Thailand. And I'd love to tell you about it. I have no idea what's going on.
No?
We're 3 episodes in, and I said to Jess the other day,
What's going on there now?
When are they going to move?
Is it hard to follow?
No, it's really slow.
Oh, it is, eh?
And that was the nature, because I loved the second one. The one in Sicily was really interesting and fun.
And remind me what it's about.
It's about stupid people. It's about wealthy, dumb people
going to resorts.
Going to these
set in a resort.
Yes, set in a they're all Four Seasons, I think. Mm-hmm. This one's set in Thailand at the Four Seasons in Thailand, and but for the purposes of the show, it's called White Lotus. And there are a bunch of different characters, most of whom are wealthy, and most of whom are in some kind of jeopardy that gets unfolded over 6 episodes, I think. So White Lotus. Yeah.
But this season is having trouble getting some traction?
It's just me.
Yeah?
Just me. Jess said to me, don't you remember the Sicily one? This is the way it unfolded. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. But when is something going to happen? So there you go. Those are my recommendations this week. I'm not reading because I'm not in a beach. So
okay. Oh, the John Kruk video.
Oh, yeah.
You wanted to share that, eh?
We were just getting ready. Listen, if you're watching on YouTube, I found this on Twitter this week. And if you're a Montrealer, you'll get this. I just thought this is really Montreal. Explain who John Kruk is.
John Kruk is a former Major League Baseball player who became a Major League Baseball announcer.
Yeah.
A color commentator, and I think he was known as a party animal.
Yes, it's stocky little guy, right?
Well, big guy, I think.
Guy.
Yeah, stocky, big guy.
Yeah.
And he was, he's a character.
Yeah.
He was a character when he played, and he's still a character. And I think in this particular clip, he talks about when the Phillies used to come and play in Montreal. Yes, have I got that right?
He's the color.
What are you doing there?
I don't know what's happening. Stop it. Something happened with my phone. I think he's the color guy on this Phillies broadcast.
Yeah.
And somehow, I don't know how, they end up talking about Montreal.
Okay.
And some people on Twitter said this could be an ad for Tourism Montreal. I'm not sure about that, but if you're a Montrealer or you're aware of Montreal's reputation,
nightlife,
you'll like this. Here's John Kruk.
Off for 4 cases of Labatt's Blue. Nice. Well, I mean, I didn't get the 4 case. I drank them while I was there. It's a great place to drink, Tom, Montreal. For all you kids planning on going up there for a trip. I'm kidding. No, I'm not.
It's really something, eh? The reputation that we have. I'm of the generation where we remember people driving up from Vermont and upstate New York to buy Brador and bring it home.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It was a whole thing back then.
Yeah,
and people coming from Ontario and other provinces where the drinking age wasn't 18, and also our bars were open till 3 a.m.
Yeah, well, they still are they not?
Yeah, I think so.
I was down on Crescent and Bishop this week, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I popped into Ziggy's, but Zig wasn't there. And I said to the bartender, well, where is he? And she said, well, he's home asleep.
Yeah, having a nap.
He must have had a late night.
Yeah, getting ready for he usually goes around the dinner hour. He usually disappears for a couple hours to rest up for the night.
Oh, there you go. Well, because I went in at around 7:30.
Yeah,
so
yeah, there you go. Anyway, that was a fun clip. I thought we would play. A nice note to go out on.
Yep.
That's this week's podcast. Remember, you can find any episode. There's 100 of them now. TerryandTedPodcast.com. It's our new website. You can email us at
the internet.
Standing by the window. No, Standing by the podcast
at gmail.com. Standing by the podcast at gmail.com.
And you can also go to our website and email us through the website if you like. And we always say we read them all and maybe a little slow answering them, but we do answer them all also.
And if you like little bite-sized bits of Terry and Ted on the website, there are highlight clips that are a lot of fun. We like to think so anyway.
With thanks to the Mersons, the good people at Accutech Electric, Robert Richer Jewelers, Sugar Sammy, who's currently on tour. Go to sugarsammy.com. And the good people at the UPS stores Canada across the country. We'll see you next week.
The Terry and Ted podcast has been brought to you by the UPS Store Canada. delivering more for small businesses in Canada.